Welcome to the Trading with Venus podcast, where we help you establish strong trading habits, generate consistent profits, and create the lifestyle you desire for yourself and your family. Now your host, Raman Gill.
Welcome to Trading with Venus podcast, episode 26. I am Raman Gill. Today, I'd like to introduce our special guest on the show, Steve Ruffley. Steve has been involved in finance and trading arena for over a decade. From investing for high net worth individuals at Price Waterhouse Cooper's, trading his own account, mentoring and risk management for traders at Refco, to running the live trading floor at Schneider's, when it comes to trading, there's not a lot he has not done. He has delivered over 800 live webinars and 42 consecutive non-farm payroll trades, only losing twice. For the last 4 years, Steve has held weekly trading clinics at FX Street, where he was nominated for the Forex Best 2014 award for the best presenter.
Hi, Steve. Welcome to the show. Thank you for joining us today.
My pleasure.
So to start the interview off, can you tell us a bit about yourself? Because we'll love to get to know you personally.
Sure. Well, there's a lot to tell, I guess. I've been in the markets for the last 15 years. I am the Chief Market Strategist of Intertrader, which is a well-known London broker. Apart from that, I've pretty much done everything in trading. I'm a fund manager. I've been an own account trader for a number of years. I've also been the manager of the biggest trading floor in Europe, at Schneider's in London. So pretty much everything to do with the trading world I've been involved with. I guess it's one of these industries, you get involved in it and you can't really get out. Trading's pretty addictive, so any aspect of it I find very interesting. I guess from a personal level, I live on a very small island off the coast of France. I'm going to get married in September, which is exciting. I have one small dog, which is called Sushi, which brings me a lot of fun. And I guess in the spare time, I like to just be outside with the dog, enjoy the beach. I've got a very nice house on the sea. I have a nice, I'm just looking over now, a nice swimming pool. So I live a pretty outdoorsy life. I don't really kind of ask for too much.
Very nice. Congratulations on your wedding.
Thank you.
So how did you get started in trading?
Well, it was funny. It was on one of my many travels. I've lived all over the world, and I found myself in Gibraltar, a very small island once again. And I was down in Marbella in Spain. I was just out around one of the local ports. There was quite a few guys out there having drinks, a lot of guys with nice flash cars, some nice Ferraris and Lamborghinis. And I just got chatting to these guys and asked them what they did. And they said they're involved in futures trading, and they were based in Gibraltar, where I happen to live. And I said, that sounds like the job for me. Basically, I spoke to these guys, got interviewed, got the job. I was over in London for 8 weeks, just being trained on Liverpool Street on the big Revco floor. And it was basically like, before The Apprentice or anything like that started, it was how the city ran things. I was one of 20 grads that basically had to fight it out for funding from Revco. And I won, I got the job, and I started trading. And that was it in a nutshell, really. So it's a bit of a one of them random occurrences. I met some people, which, you know, how life works. It's who you know, not what you know. I've always been involved in finance. Before that, I was an investment advisor for Price Waterhouse Cooper. So I knew about the financial world, and when I saw the kind of money these guys made, I thought it was time to switch across to the markets and see what that was all about.
Yeah, it sounds very much like a reality TV, having to fight for the funding. Pretty
much. There was 8 guys in a house in London, and we had to kind of fight it out and do tests every day, and kind of simulated trade the markets. So it was pretty intense, especially when you're not used to trading and it's all brand new to you. But great experience. What an experience! I made some great friends, met some good enemies, and had a great time. To be honest, I wouldn't change it for anything. It was a baptism of fire, and I believe that everyone that gets involved in the markets to some extent, experiences that.
Now, was it a time where it was tough for you during your trading journey, where you actually felt like you were failing at it? So tell us a bit about that, and how did you actually get past that?
Well, I mean, like everybody, when I first started trading, I kind of hit the ground running and made a lot of money very quickly. The first couple of weeks, I'd made a lot of money for a newbie trader. And you get cocky, you get complacent. And that's when it gets hard, because all of a sudden, when you don't make the money and you start to lose the money, it becomes a big reality check. So, like most people, I'm not going to, kid anybody here. I've wiped out plenty of accounts in my younger days. I mean, we're talking, small accounts, 15, 20,000 pounds. But when you trade big size and you trade markets like I do, that's a day's wage. So these kind of things, you have to kind of break yourself in. So what I found difficult was hitting the markets quickly, making lots of money, and then being consistent with that. And I got unrealistic expectations, very early on. I was around a lot of big traders in the city, guys like Braveheart, and kind of people that, really, made hundreds of thousands of pounds a day. So you became very disenfranchised with the normal world, and, making £100, £200 a day, which retail traders might find acceptable, just wasn't, the game. We were in there to make, big money and big money quick. So my biggest problem that I had was keeping that early success up, and keeping just the sheer volume that I traded within the markets, keeping that consistent. And, it's really the expectations that I found the most difficult to manage. That took a long time, actually. It took a lot more time than I thought. It took me probably, I would say, 3 years, really, to be a consistently big trader. It took a lot of mistakes, a lot of down days and down weeks to be able to kind of deal with the big swings of making lots of money in short periods of time and then losing, again, big money in short periods of time. So that was what I found the most difficult to overcome. And that's really where I'll be able to help traders in the future, actually, how to scale up and how to deal with the realities of trading large accounts.
So in terms of a challenge that kept you from becoming consistently profitable, was there any one thing that you were able to point out that was the biggest challenge?
I mean, trading, in essence, is difficult. I think the biggest thing that I kind of had to overcome was the relationship between technical and fundamental trading. Obviously, I've gone on to write books and, I've mentored thousands of traders, presented lots of webinars, etc., etc. So I've got a wealth of experience. But the kind of single thing that I found the most difficult was giving the market time to breathe and to kind of listen to big fundamental information to do with, again, when I was trading, there was, terrorist attacks like in London. There was, kind of big problems with the credit crunch, etc. So big events. And I think my biggest problem was letting the market assimilate this information and not jumping in too quickly. Let the market have time to breathe, make a decision, and then these big moves happen. It's trying not to react to fundamental news too quickly. That was the biggest single thing that I found the most difficult. If I hear something straight away, I want to act on it, I want to trade in it, I want to make money. And I didn't realize that even, the cutthroat futures markets, which, information does hit the markets instantly. To get the bigger moves and to get, these follow-throughs, you have to give the markets a bit of time. And I think with the environment I was in and wanted to make money in, seconds, not even minutes, I didn't give the markets enough time to factor in everything and move. And that was the biggest single thing that really kind of held me back, trying to be too aggressive and not let the markets do what it needed to do, so not giving the markets enough time to react.
And a question that's not something that I ask all the time, but what kind of support did you get from your funders or the company that you were working with? What were some of the things that they did as a company or you as a trader got to do being part of a fund, for example, that most people don't, like retail traders don't have access to?
I mean, you have the economies of scale, so you can trade much bigger size because you're backed by, big companies. Obviously, the companies I traded for are household names. These are huge, huge companies. You get the economies of scale where you get analysts, you get risk managers. You get the professional side of a prop trading floor that you just wouldn't get at home. So instead of being on your own, making your own trade calls and analysis, a lot of things are thrown at you. But to be honest, it's not the kind of fairy tale that you think. It was actually the kind of support didn't really come in the form that you needed, to be honest. I mean, back in the day, a lot of my contemporaries were people off the trading floors, so the live floors in London. So they had a much different idea of how trading worked, because when you're screen trading, it's very different than it was in the open outcry and the market. So the most of the support came afterwards, the late night drinking sessions, being out and talking to people honestly. In the actual trading floor itself, it was quite a closed, guarded environment. People didn't want to give away their strategies, their secrets. So I was sat with 200 guys, and you're pretty much on your own. All you've got is your screen. So the support network really came from what you made of it. You had to go and speak to traders, find their experience, and get on board that way. There was nothing really kind of given to you, apart from the generic education they gave everybody. The real experience came from trading live, making mistakes, and then figuring out how you made them mistakes and how you rectify it. So, really, I mean, it's not the Wolf of Wall Street, this kind of stuff. We weren't all kind of sat there together, on the phones, screaming at each other, buying and selling deals. The majority of trading floors I've managed and worked on have been pretty much silent because it's all behind the screens. It's all you against the markets. So really, the kind of support, as I say, came from outside of the trading floor, just being around other traders when you had some downtime and figuring out what had happened.
So in terms of creating support for retail traders, do you have any recommendations based on your trading journey here?
Well, I mean, that's the whole point. I mean, I've done everything in trading. So I started off as a graduate trader. So I know all the pitfalls that, professional traders make, and that does translate into the retail world. The retail world is probably just as competitive and difficult as the professional trading world. As the retail trader, you trade in a spread betting platform, you pay a spread, but you have very little costs. When you trade in a big firm, you have to pay a lot of costs. So my desk fee, for instance, was £2,500 a month. So when you turn up to work and you're already £2,500 down, well, you've got to make that before you even start to show any kind of profit. So, yeah, I mean, there's plenty of professional tips, and it's generally kind of mindset, attitude, setting your screens up, setting your charts up, setting your preparation and yourself up to act like a professional, even if you are a retail trader. And I've probably, as many of the things that I've done, I trade my own fund, which I have done for a while now. But on the side, I always still give education to retail traders. As I say, I'm the Chief Market Strategist of Intertrader, which is a spread betting company. So over the last 5 years, I've presented over 1,000 webinars and live trades, teaching people how to trade. And that's how I keep myself sharp. I keep talking to traders every day, every week, to see what they're going through, to make sure I'm still doing the right things as a professional trader. But all my experience is the other way. From teaching and making mistakes, I can give a lot back to retail traders because, as I say, it's trading. I've pretty much done it.
So in your own journey, was there an aha moment where you thought, okay, you have figured out what was wrong and how to fix it? And how did that shape your trading journey?
When you've traded for as long as I have, there are plenty of aha moments. There's probably a lot of rude word moments as well. The aha moments really came for me when the biggest thing that really kind of shaped my trading journey, if you want to call it my career, whatever, was when I was always a counter-trend trader. I thought I'm a pretty smart guy, I'm pretty confident, so I'm going to change trading. I'm going to go into the markets, going to trade my way. I know what other people don't know. And the biggest aha moment was I was looking at the markets the wrong way. What I need to know is what everybody else knows. Once I know what everybody else knows, I know their pain points, I know their pressure points, and I can trade with them when they're right, against them when they're wrong. So the aha moment was not trying to find some secret strategy only I knew, trying to find some secret formula to making money, was figuring out what everyone else in the markets knew and then using that as my frame point. Now I've gone on to write software for Metastock, MQ4, NT4, Tradable, and this whole philosophy of the way I've developed my software is my aha moment. I've figured out how to look at the key indicators, oscillators, the time frames within charts, and figure out how to put a framework together of what the average trader is thinking. So I know when the charts are moving and my indicators come up, what the pain points, what the pressure points in the markets are, then I can make a trade call if I want to go with it or go against it. So that was my biggest aha moment. Stop trying to be Steve Ruffley against the world. Look at what the world's doing and then just get in with the momentum, or again, with when you can see where the pain points are, and if the market's, again, moving very aggressively, getting through retail trader stops, I can go with it or just wait and be patient and wait for that real extreme of the market, then get back involved. So that's really my aha moment, I would say.
In terms of your learning, was there one particular person that had a tremendous impact on you as a trader?
Not really, to be honest. I would love to say there's a long list of people that have helped me along the way, but there just hasn't. I've met so many people on my trading journey, and generally they're all full of, without wanting to be rude, full of nonsense. I've heard every story from every trader. I've heard every pitch from rocket scientists. I've had actual rocket scientists come to me and ask me for money because they've got a system. To the cheeky boys down in London, the guys driving the Ferrari. I've had it all. Okay, there's been no one person I've come across that has just give me that one spark, that one bit of inspiration, that one critical insight. There's been loads of people I've loved along the way, loads of people I've had great times with, loads of people I've become great friends with. But I would say, realistically, the whole point of trading is you have to understand yourself. So the biggest, and again, this is going to sound, like I've got a massive ego, but the biggest thing I learned from trading was understanding myself. So the biggest conversations I've had are in my own head, and figuring out how I interact with the market, how I feel pressure, how I deal with trading large sums of money. And that's what's helped me, speaking to myself. There's been no individual across my travels that has just given me that, that bit of individual spark. There's been no mentor. There's been nobody who I would attribute for my success.
Are there any successful habits that you believe has contributed to your trading success?
I think the main habit was being patient. It's very easy when you see markets moving to get involved, and that is a professional trader and a retail trader. So the biggest habit I've got is being able to sit back and maybe not trade at all in a day. Being able to sit on your hands, watch the market, understand why things are moving, and then press the button when it's absolutely the time to do it. So my biggest kind of consistent habit is I'll get up, I'll watch the markets, I never trade the opens. I'm always looking, for that bit of movement, towards the US Open, and I'm just ready. I'm ready for any bit of fundamental data, any bit of news. I'm ready for any big spike in the market. But if I don't see a trade, I'll sit on my hands and not trade. And that is absolutely 100% the best lesson I learned as a young trader, was to sit on your hands and wait for the markets to come to you, not to chase opportunities that aren't actually there.
That's so important. I used to do that all the time. I would just jump into things, and if somebody told me to sit on my hands, I had such a terrible time with that. And that's something that I have to say I have learned the hard way.
Well, what are the jobs you go to that you sit there for 8 hours and expect it to do nothing? It's against human nature, isn't it? So if you're a professional trader, you've got to make your money that day. If you're a retail trader, you've got money sat in your account you could better utilize. But you're absolutely right. It's a lesson you learn only the hard way, by losing money for nothing.
Yeah, and actually I've pushed my trading times as well. Just like you said, I used to trade the open all the time, and I don't anymore. There's just too much volatility. Too much volatility, too much stress, too many big players getting out of overnight positions. It's one of these things. Let the market come to you. The market's trading, 24/6. If you're trading the FX markets, there's plenty of time. So don't jump in. Let the markets come to you. And that took me, again, a good amount of time to realize, one trade can make you, but shouldn't break you. You don't want to lose all your money on the open. That's for sure. You don't want to hit your daily stop 2 minutes after the open, do you? Yeah, isn't that a horrible feeling?
It's the worst. It's the worst.
You start the day down, and there goes your day.
And then you spend the whole afternoon making it back. So you just traded the afternoon and had a lie-in, you'd be fine.
Exactly. Now, is there a book or resource that you can recommend to our listeners?
Of course. Well, there's The Rough Guide to Trading, which you can find on Amazon. That's my book. Spent a long time writing that, and I would say per hour, my hourly wage must have been about 7p. It was a labour of love, and I'd recommend anybody who's asked to write a book, unless you're going to sell, millions of copies like some of the big boys, don't bother. It's a lot of work for not much reward. But it's a great book.
Do you want to tell us a bit about the book?
Yeah, basically, it's The Rough Guide to Trading. So my name's Steve Ruffley. So The Rough, R-U-F-F, Guide to Trading. It almost wrote itself. It's a book about all my experiences, how I got into the market, how I break down the key fundamental side, technical side, my 80-20 rule. It's all about risk management. And again, it's just a nice introduction to anybody who's interested in trading or anyone who started to trade. Like you said, first of all, in the conversation we had, many traders put money into their account. If they don't double their account, they chip it down and end up, with nothing. And then if they had a 3-month trading experience and they never trade again, you're going to have ups and downs. So I prepare you for that. It's a marathon, as I say, not a sprint. And it's really just kind of allowing people to access the markets without... A lot of people talk in trader jargon. They try and make themselves a lot more intelligent than they are. I know I'm a smart guy, okay? And I was asked to write the book, so I wrote it not in layman's terms, but I wrote it to make it accessible to anyone in the market. So anybody, any trader at any level. There's something for literally everybody, I would say.
Great. So I will link to the book in the show notes here.
Okay.
So if you could do your trading journey over, what would you do differently?
I mean, that's a very good question, but it's also one of the worst questions, because one of the biggest things I teach is there are no what-ifs. How many times do you speak to a trader and they say, if only I'd held that trade, I'd have made this amount of money. If only I'd put my stop here, I'd have done that. There are no do-overs in trading. You get one chance, and once your money's in the markets, that's it. You're either going to make your money or you're going to get stopped out. If I could have my time again, I'd probably not be a trader. That's probably what I'd do. I probably wouldn't trade.
It's like being in business, right? When I first started my business, I used to have an IT consulting business years ago. 10 years later, had I known what I knew in the beginning, I would not have started the business.
Exactly. I'd have been a pro golfer. I'd have been, a pro golfer, a football player. I'd have been anything. Trading is when you make it, it's great. It's when you can make large sums of money in short period of times, it's great, but it doesn't come easily. These things take years, decades to learn, and it's very stressful and has lots of negative impacts. People don't tell you about the negative impacts. I found it very difficult to keep a girlfriend. My friends, unless they were traders, I wasn't interested. Very little security. We didn't know when your money was going to come. So if you're buying houses, etc., you're always worried about when the money was coming in. So a lot of downsides to being a professional trader. I guess on the retail side, it's not quite the same. It's to top up your income or trade for different reasons. But yeah, trading's it's not everything it's cracked up to be. So I say that, I've got a love-hate relationship with trading. I put a lot of time and effort into it more than anything else in my life, so I couldn't be anything else than what I am now. But if I had my time again, maybe I'd have revisited the work-life balance earlier on. I wouldn't have perhaps put in the hours I did, and probably taken the stress off myself by being a bit more objective, kind of realizing there was more to life than just being sat in front of a screen for 12 hours a day. So that's probably the only thing in hindsight that I'd change.
In terms of tips for traders who are beginning their trading journey, do you have a few tips that you could share so that they don't make some of the mistakes that we have all made?
Sure. I mean, again, where do we start? I think the biggest tip I would give right off the bat is be realistic. Okay, understand what you're willing to put in your account, what you're going to fund it with, and therefore how much you can make and lose. At the end of the day, if you want to be a millionaire trader, you can't put a few $1,000s into your account. Money makes money. So I think the biggest thing is to be realistic. And also, the next thing is, scalability. You can do a lot of things with, £1, £2, £3, £4, £5, $5 a point. You can make good money. But then when you start to scale that up and start trading, hundreds of pounds a point, hundreds of dollars a point, it becomes a lot more difficult. The psychological edge of seeing, the P&L swing from hundreds of dollars to thousands of dollars to tens of thousands of dollars, like I do every day. That takes a long time to get used to. So I would say the kind of key tips are be realistic on what you can make based upon your account. Don't try and push it too hard. Okay, it's a marathon or a sprint. I've said that once, but I'll say it a million times. Set yourself daily, weekly, monthly targets. Remember, it's a bigger picture thing. So you might lose in a day, you might have a few winning days, but look how you stand each month. You need to be profitable each month to be consistent. Then you can scale it up. So it's giving yourself time, giving yourself realistic targets and expectations. That's the real thing that not just professional traders, but retail traders need to know. Give yourself a 3, 6, 12-month plan. And again, it's that longer-term picture that's going to make you consistently successful. One trade shouldn't, it can potentially make you, but it shouldn't be able to break you. So remember, it's a long-term game trading.
Perfect. So if somebody wanted to get in touch with you, what's the best way to reach you?
The best thing is just to Google Steve Ruffley. I have many sites. I have iviewcharts.com, mt4switch.com, steveruffley.com. You can find me on intertrader.com. I'm not a difficult man to find. I've been around for quite some time now. So if you just Google my name, then there's plenty of information, plenty of ways to get hold of me. And also universal Twitter at Steve Ruffley. I'm not an avid tweeter. I've got Twitter. I get it. One of the few people that get it. But I will certainly check my tweets more than I will tweet. I'm kind of only 2 or 3 or 4 tweets a week unless I see something really interesting.
Great. Thank you so much for taking the time to speak with us, Steve. Really appreciate it.
No, it's absolutely my pleasure. Thanks for the opportunity.
We were just chatting with Steve Ruffley from iView Charts. He shared with us his experience as a professional trader, lessons he learned during his trading journey, as well as the tips on how to become a successful trader. For show notes for this episode, please visit tradingwithvenus.com/podcasts and look for episode 26. That's it for today. Thank you so much for joining me. It is always wonderful to have you with me. I will see you next time.
If you want consistency in your trading, we invite you to join our daily market analysis calls, where we provide the levels to find the best entries and targets on an intraday basis. For a 1-week free trial, please visit www.tradingwithvenus.com. Thanks for joining us today. With much gratitude, your show host, Raman Gill.